You're standing in front of the bathroom mirror, half dressed for your friend's engagement party, phone propped against the soap dish because you were listening to something while you got ready. Then a notification slides down. An old college friend, someone you haven't actually spoken to in maybe 2 years, just posted a story. New house keys, dangling from a finger, a caption that says we're homeowners with 3 exclamation points. You look at the keys. You look at your own reflection, half a shirt buttoned, standing in a bathroom you rent. Something in your chest drops half an inch, fast, like missing a stair in the dark. You didn't decide to feel that. It just happened, in under 2 seconds. Before you'd even finished reading the caption, the drop has a name, and it's a lot older than phones. Go back further, before the keys, before the party, before any of it. You're at a family dinner, and your aunt is telling everyone, again, about your cousin's promotion. The new title, the new office, the corner one, with windows. You nod along, you say something like that's amazing, and you mean it, mostly. But on the drive home you're quieter than usual, running a private tally you didn't ask to run, what you make, what he probably makes now, whether you're behind, whether you were always going to be behind. Nobody at that table made you do the math. Your brain did it automatically. The second it had 2 numbers to compare. Here's the strange part, for most of the time humans have existed, that same automatic math was actually useful, maybe one of the most useful things your mind could do. Picture a small group, 30 or 40 people, everyone camped along the same stretch of river for a season. There's no anonymity in a group that size. You know who the best hunter is, but you also know he's been limping since a bad fall 2 winters back, and that his wife has been doing most of the work since. You know the woman everyone quietly defers to during arguments, and you know part of why. She lost a child years ago, and something about surviving that made people trust her judgment. When you compared yourself to anyone in that group, you weren't comparing yourself to a highlight. You were comparing yourself to a whole person, built up over years of actually watching them, their good seasons and their terrible ones, stitched together into something like the truth. That comparison told you real things, who to learn a skill from, who might need your help this month, whether you were pulling your weight in a group your actual survival depended on. It was, in its own way, almost impossible to get wrong. That's also, worth noting, an incredibly recent problem. Your grandparents compared themselves to neighbors, co-workers, the family down the street, a pool of maybe a few dozen people they saw regularly enough to know the real, boring, unfiltered truth about. Even the earliest photo albums only held a few hundred pictures total, gathered slowly over years, usually of birthdays and holidays, not curated daily. The infinite, always refreshing feed of other people's chosen best moments is maybe 15 years old. Your status tracking system has had a few 100,000 years to calibrate itself to small groups of real people. It's had about 15 to calibrate itself to this. Now put that same ancient calculator to work on a phone. Instead of 40 people you've watched for years, it's running on thousands of people you'll never meet, each one reduced to a single image, chosen by them, out of maybe 50 photos taken that day. Then boosted or buried by a piece of software whose only job is to guess what will make you keep scrolling. Nobody posts the argument in the car on the way to buy the house. Nobody posts the 11 job rejections before the "We're homeowners" caption, or the 3 years of a marriage nobody saw, or the version of that cousin's promotion where he cried in his car in the parking garage the week before because he was sure they'd pick someone else. Your comparison machine doesn't know any of that is missing. It just runs the same math it always has. Compared to them, how am I doing? Except them is no longer a person. It's a highlight reel wearing a person's face. You can watch this happen in smaller, dumber moments too, the ones that don't even feel like a big deal until you notice the pattern. You have a genuinely bad Tuesday, overslept, burned your coffee, sat through a meeting where you said nothing useful and got a look from your manager you're still turning over 3 hours later, and on your lunch break, alone in your car with a sad desk lunch, you open your phone and see someone from your old job announcing a promotion, in that specific confident language people save for exactly 1 post a year. You are comparing the messiest 40 minutes of your entire week against someone else's single most rehearsed sentence. It was never a fair fight. Your comparison machine doesn't grade on that curve. It just registers a loss and moves on, or picture the version of this that starts at the gym. You've been going 3 times a week for 2 months, which felt like real progress right up until you stood in the locker room scrolling before your shower and landed on a video of someone your exact age doing a set of pull-ups that looked almost bored, filmed from an angle clearly chosen to catch the light just right, set to music that made the whole thing feel like a movie trailer. You didn't see the 18 months before that video. You didn't see the injuries, the plateaus, the days they skipped. You saw 40 seconds, engineered to be watched, and your 2 months of real, unglamorous progress quietly shrank next to it. Standing there in a towel with wet hair, before you'd even had a chance to decide whether the comparison was fair. Or the version that shows up as a day-in-my-life video, someone waking up before sunrise in a sunlit kitchen, making a smoothie that looks like it belongs in a magazine, journaling for exactly as long as looks aesthetically pleasing on camera, then off to a job that appears to consist entirely of walking through glass lobbies looking purposeful. You watch it on your actual morning, which involved hitting snooze twice, eating cereal standing at the counter, and forgetting your badge at home. Nobody films the version of themselves running late. The feed simply doesn't contain that footage, from anyone, ever, which means the comparison you're running isn't even comparing 2 real days. It's comparing your 1 real day against a category of video that, by definition, cannot include a bad morning. It isn't only strangers doing this to you, either. Go into any new parent group chat and watch it happen among people who actually like each other. Someone posts that their 8-month-old just took their first steps, with a video, complete with clapping. Within minutes, 3 other parents in that chat, good, kind people, genuinely happy for their friend, are quietly opening a different app to look up average age baby walks, because some old tribal alarm just went off, some ancient sense that says if everyone else's kid is ahead, maybe something in your camp needs fixing. Nobody in that chat is trying to hurt anyone. The mechanism doesn't care about intentions. It just compares. Not every version of this is a bad story, though, and it's worth saying so honestly. Picture someone scrolling late one night, half asleep, who stumbles across a video of a stranger crossing a marathon finish line, exhausted, crying, arms up. That same old comparison machine fires, compared to them, how am I doing? But this time it doesn't curdle into shame. It tips somewhere else entirely, that stranger's a person too, not just a genetic freak, and if they did that, maybe the couch to 5K app sitting unopened on your phone for 6 months isn't as impossible as it felt yesterday. Comparison lit the fuse either way. Which direction it burns seems to depend less on whether someone's doing better than you, your ancestors dealt with that every single day of their lives, and a lot more on how much of the real, unfiltered person you're allowed to see behind the moment. There's a version of this that ambushes people at weddings, too, not even their own phone doing it, just standing there in a rented suit at the edge of the dance floor, watching a couple you've known for years look at each other during their first dance like nobody else is in the room. Somewhere in the middle of being genuinely happy for them, a second feeling slides in underneath it, uninvited, a quiet accounting of your own relationship. Or the total absence of one, measured against this one specific, beautifully lit, professionally photographed evening. That evening isn't even a fair sample of their actual relationship, it's the one day out of thousands they spent months planning to look exactly like this, but standing at the edge of that dance floor, your comparison machine doesn't pause to check the sample size. It just runs the numbers it's been handed, and there's a telling detail buried in how people actually use these apps, one worth sitting with for a second. The people who end up feeling worst aren't usually the ones posting the most. It's the ones doing the most watching, scrolling for long stretches, tapping into post after post. Never commenting, never showing up as anything but a silent audience. The posting itself, the actual participating, doesn't carry nearly the same weight. It's the watching, alone, in the dark, comparing a whole private inner life against an endless parade of other people's best 15 seconds, that seems to do the damage. So go back to that bathroom mirror, half a shirt buttoned, that half-inch drop in your chest over someone else's house keys. It wasn't a character flaw. It wasn't proof you're ungrateful, or petty, or behind in some race nobody else even knows they're running. It was a few 100,000 years of a perfectly good status tracking system, still doing exactly the job it evolved to do. Except the sample size it's built for went from 40 people you actually knew to several thousand strangers you never will, and nobody ever went back and told it the math had changed. Your brain isn't wrong to compare. It's just comparing your whole, unedited life against a stranger's trailer, and calling it a fair fight.